My name is Stephanie Troiani. I'm with Remax of the Poconos, and Ida was also with Remax of the Poconos.
Ida Morales, yes.
And we have special guest
Andy Williams, Abacus Regional Mortgage.
Yeah. So we have a couple questions, a few questions that we're going to ask Andy today.
A lot.
And so I'm glad that you guys can join us. Thanks. What type of lender are you?
Ooh.
I'm a mortgage broker.
Okay.
So a mortgage broker is different than typical going to a bank or being a mortgage, mortgage loan officer that works for any other type of lender. A mortgage broker finds the lender and they places the loan for the customer. So you take the customer, figure out who's the best lender is for them and which program is the best program for them, and then we do all of the work up front. We do everything up until closing.
Right.
So, what fees do you have? What are your upfront fees? Any charges that you carry? Obviously, you're doing most of the work.
As a mortgage broker, we don't charge anything. We get all of our fees by the lender. So whoever we place the loan with, we get paid by them.
Okay.
The only difference of that is if I do a commercial loan for somebody, which is not often, somebody's buying a 6 or 7 unit building, or they buy a commercial mixed use building, I have to charge them. In that particular case, I charge the minimum 1% of the loan amount, just to do everything for them.
All right. How's business lately?
Very slow. Because everybody's paying cash, and there's all these multiple offers where the people are, they don't even need financing. I'm finding out with a lot of the agents that are telling me the same thing that.
Yeah.
That.
Well, I do have credit. You do as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question in regards to buyers specifically, like closing costs. Not closing costs, closing. Going from the application process all the way to closing. What is the time allotted for that? Like,
You can do as little as sometimes less than 30 days and as much as maybe 60 days. Some of the programs that we offer, some of them require longer time frames, such as like a USDA loan, which we'll go into a little bit more later. But a USDA loan requires not only us to get everything all the way prepared for closing, then it has to go to USDA for a final
So
approval.
give us like a ballpark time frame. Is it 30 days? Is it 90 days? Ballpark.
I would say,
Not to, we're not pinning it down exactly, but.
yes, we are.
well, I would say to be safe, you're looking at 45 days.
Okay, good.
But that's a good question, because a lot of times I'll tell an agent, well, we need definitely 30 days to close. But what happens, they write the agreement for 30 days, and what happens is by the time it goes back and forth between the buyer and seller, it's 3 or 4 days went by, and then by the time they come in to apply with me, now I have 21 days to close.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's that's why I always ask for people when you write the offer to put 45 days from the day you write the
So
offer.
like a USDA.
Right.
If it's USDA, I'd say 60 days from then.
Oh, okay.
You have enough time.
But for your typical one, I say 45 because of that lag time between the time you make the offer and they actually come in to apply.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different. I think in other states nearby, of course, they have no limit. Like you will get the closing date whenever it comes, and that's it, right? Have you seen
It
it?
can be dragged out like
Yes.
4 or 5 months.
Yeah, you
You're
get the email and it says ready to close, and you're
when
like,
is this closing?
Yeah.
Well, did you notice your agreements say on or before,
Yeah.
but in like other states it says on or about.
correct, correct.
That
Yes.
leaves a lot of wow.
And that's
Yeah.
why some
Yes.
sellers from other states don't have an expectation of when the closing is going to come.
Yeah.
However, PA sellers are very strict with dates because Pennsylvania is
Time of the essence.
yeah,
state.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
time of
So
the
it's
essence
important.
state. Mhm.
yeah, so it's different.
You're
It's good to teach them really when you're speaking to them about the contract itself, kind of going over the date is important.
Got to watch your
Yes.
dates.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Do you know the date, like when you're getting the application and everything done, do you already know you're like, this is a 45 day, this is a 60 day, this is a, I can knock this out in 3 weeks or
Yeah,
whatever.
because the agent always says to me, oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll look at the agreement of sale, I'll look at the date, and if I know it's not realistic based on the
No, let's
customer
change
and
that.
their ability to get me documentation, they don't keep
They're
any
slow
records.
with that.
I might say immediately, please, we're gonna need an extension on
Yeah.
this immediately. If I see these people, I mean, I
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
And most times
Yeah.
agents are like, well, let's just wait till it gets closer, let's see if we can.
No.
No, I try to be
No.
upfront.
Yeah.
But sometimes they do, the people come in and they have absolutely everything and it's like labeled and they have it in a folder.
Or digital
and it's like,
files, they send you quick stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
They have a spiral notebook and everything is labeled. I'm like, oh boy, we
weeks.
could probably do
2
this
weeks.
quicker, But then again, we're still subjected to so many other people. I'd love to say I could do 2 weeks, but what if the appraiser doesn't go out?
Oh,
for such
yeah,
and such?
yeah, yeah.
And what if the title company doesn't get their title work in?
Yeah,
Right.
that makes sense. It's
So
a
we're
team
dealing-
effort, yeah.
We're
Yeah.
dealing with a lot of moving sprockets
Right.
here, so.
And we're dependent on so many other
Yeah.
people. It's not just
Absolutely.
us.
It's
Yeah.
definitely a team.
But I can see you moving fast. Right?
Yeah.
You can see him be like, get me the paper!
Cha-cha.
Yeah, which is good, honestly is good. The worst is when you speak to the lender and they don't get back to you for 3 days. And then you send them another message and they don't get back to you. It's honestly, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
What are your hours then?
Well,
24/8,
my hours
you
are
mean?
any-
25/8?
Right, anytime. Like, I say the same thing about the customers. I meet people on the weekends, I meet them in the evenings, because you have to do, I don't want people to have to take off of work.
Right.
But I do prefer most of the time to meet with people face to face, unless they're like, well,
Of
we live in
course.
Delaware, we live in New York, and we're not really coming up.
This is a
That's
people's
fine.
business.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a relationship.
Do you
business.
attend closing?
Yeah. Do you-
Most of the time I don't, and I'll tell you why. So when I started doing this on the road, I got out of underwriting and started doing the actual originating 32 years ago. People had me coming to their closings, and they were, oh yeah, you definitely, I really want you to be in my closing. And then what happened was, I was making promises to people to go to closing, and you'd have
And
two
end
at
up
the
not-
same time.
Yeah.
Or one was in Easton and one was in Stroudsburg, and they were half an hour apart, and I couldn't get to them. Where were you?
Yeah.
So now I tell people I don't go to closing.
Yeah, you have to keep, that's a lot. Can you imagine?
Just accommodating buyers on the weekends is huge.
Absolutely,
Because
I agree.
when I'm writing a contract for my buyers, I wanna be able to speak with that lender that weekend, that
It's
night
important.
that I'm writing it.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
super
Right.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I need you to talk with my buyer and say,
Change
hey,
the letter.
this is what we're doing, I need you to change the
Yeah.
qualification.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Right, so I know that I have to jump. If it's 4th of July and I'm not,
Well, hopefully on the
if-
4th of July,
No,
we're
I'm
not
just
calling
saying-
it.
I mean,
You're not showing up
I'm not
Christmas?
calling you on 4th of July.
but I have gotten,
Uh,
that. Easter, I've
Yeah.
gotten Christmas Eve, New
Yeah,
Year's, it doesn't
yeah.
matter. I try to accommodate, but it's just, if it's Saturday night and it's 9 o'clock at night and
I
I'm
mean,
3 beers deep, I'm
yeah.
probably not gonna call your buyer at that time. You don't want me to call your
No, I
buyer.
do call our buyer, no, we don't.
No, that's too much, but
I'll call him Sunday morning, you know?
Yeah.
First
If
thing
you
I'll
get
send you
up.
a text, exactly.
9:30.
So you had a question about offers and if somebody wants to
Okay.
offer a little more, because we
Yeah,
had that happen.
so if I have a buyer that is trying to negotiate an extra 5,000 that the seller wants, to clinch the deal, what is that 5,000 going to amount to on their monthly payment?
Literally
So-
$30. Because as a general factor right now with today's interest rates, you use $6 per thousand. So if it were $10,000, it would be $60.
Wow.
That's awesome.
5,000 would be $30
So
approximately.
don't leave that $5,000 on the table and not
Don't
clinch
lose
that
the
house, that
house.
dream house.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't, yeah.
And,
No, it makes sense, because I've had
yeah.
people say to me, oh, well, I don't like that payment, what if I put another $10,000 down, I said it drops your payment $60, that's it? They're expecting it $200
Save
less,
it,
and it's just
yeah.
not that
Right,
kind
but
of
if you
thing.
look at the
Unexpected
other
stuff,
way,
yeah.
It works
extra
great,
five,
right, it's
yeah.
only $30
Yeah.
more.
That's great, and to be honest, an extra 5K will definitely make a huge difference
It
on
would
an
make
offer.
a huge difference being competitive,
Mhm.
especially when you have a multiple offer situation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That is true.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh,
Here's
snap.
a good one.
Okay.
Do you focus only in one area, or do you go anywhere in Pennsylvania, let's say? Or would you go to, let's say you're in Monroe County primarily, would you show a house in Pike County? Would you show a house in Wayne County? Would you show a house in Schuylkill County or Northampton or Lehigh County?
I have done it. I've gone as far as, upstate, like by, Lakewell and Pocono, I've done it.
And that is such a beautiful area
Yes.
too, so any buyer that comes to me and says they wanna.
You wanna see the houses.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, we'll go, I don't care, cause I think that's like over an hour drive.
Yes.
But for me, that's such a beautiful area, I'll do it, I don't care.
Yeah, I agree
But-
with that too.
yeah.
Like, I think it depends how serious the buyer is. Cause honestly, I love to drive around and show houses, that's really my job and I love it, but I also don't wanna be wasting gas. Like, I need to know that you're serious about
Right.
buying a house.
Well, it was
Sure.
interesting because like back in the day, when I first came up here, like I said, 32 years ago, everybody used the real estate book. There was no internet, so, and it seemed like a buyer would make an appointment, say at 9 a.m. with Century 21, and then at noon with Remax, and at 3 o'clock with Coldwell Banker. And the deal was the agent was trying to get them
To sign,
the first
the buyer
one to
agent.
sign ahead of time, and they would only show them their listings.
Okay,
Oh.
so.
And then you wanted to try to get them under agreement before it got to the next person in line.
Really?
So the question is, do you
I don't-
sell anybody's listings or
I-
only your
I
own?
do not operate like that.
No, me
I
neither.
will tell my buyer that I can show you anybody's listings, let me know what the address is, and I will set it up.
Right.
It doesn't really matter. I do most of Monroe County, I do parts of Pike, I've gone to Northampton. So, I mean, really, my objective is just to get it done.
Right.
I want to find their house for them. So, I'll do it while driving, yeah.
That makes sense,
absolutely.
honestly, and if you think about it also, the relationship that you create with one person is more important than having to go through different realtors, to see the houses, because you think that going through them is gonna get you the better deal. That is not the case at all, because that realtor still has to work primarily for the seller. So, you know what I mean, anybody can get you a good deal, and if you have a good negotiator, you're gonna get a good deal.
Right.
Yeah, so it's more about the agent, it really isn't about the listing. Like, if you wanna just speak to the listing agent, that is not something that we do see people doing these days, do we?
So that brings up another question.
I see buyers hopscotching. I
You
really
do?
yeah.
Oh.
I have people that come to me that were referred to me by an agent, and they say, oh, well, don't send the pre-approval to them. And I said, well, they're the ones who referred you to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just calling on signs, because they think somehow in their mind they're gonna get a better deal if they go directly to the agent, the listing
Oh,
agent
yeah.
on the property. And they bounce around and probably never buy anything, but I do find it interesting,
That's
because then
unfortunate.
my
Yeah.
loyalty is with the agent, because
Yeah.
this customer's probably once and done, but you're somebody I'm gonna work with for a long
Yeah.
time. So if
Here's-
that's their attitude, I have to send them